Good evening, everybody. I hope that I have the angle right here. Welcome to the Monday, June 14th live stream for studentloanjustice.org. We are the oldest, largest, and pretty much only true grassroots citizens group fighting for student loan justice. For the first 16 years of our existence, we were fighting very moderately for only the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. The Founding Fathers called for uniform bankruptcy laws in the Constitution, ahead of the power to declare war and raise an army. That has been taken away uniquely, exclusively from student loans. No other loans, only student loans. So bankruptcy really lies at the core of the problem. But I'm here to tell you, folks, that certainly even before the pandemic, 80% of all student loan borrowers were never going to be able to repay their loans. They were either in deferment, forbearance, default, otherwise unable to pay, or they were and that's like 65% or somewhere in there, or they were paying, but their balance was going up. So the subprime home mortgage default rate was 20%. We are certainly looking at a default rate for federal student loans of, who knows, 65, 75, 80%. And that's before the pandemic, mind you. So I'm here to tell you that bankruptcy is great. We continue to fight for that. It continues to lie at the core of this problem. But the lending system has now catastrophically failed. There is no saving it. The most efficient solution to this problem at this juncture is the cancellation of all federal student loans by executive order. That's very important. Congress will not cancel loans. That costs money. You have to get money. You have to raise taxes. You have to take from other programs. You would have to find a way to raise $1.6 trillion and then give that $1.6 trillion to the Department of Education so they could cancel loans. That's how Congress would have to do it. Ain't never going to happen. Not going to happen. What can happen is the president and the secretary have all the authority they need to simply cancel the loans with no money required from Treasury, no appropriation required from Congress, nothing added to the national debt, by the way, in this era of PPP loans where we're throwing many trillions of dollars out into the economy, including these PPP loans that don't need to be repaid. All that stuff, all that stimulus stuff added a lot to the national debt. Canceling federal student loans would add zero. It would require not one nickel from Treasury. So that's pretty much what has to happen at this point, folks. So we're fighting for two things. We still have to fight for bankruptcy because there are loans that the president cannot cancel by executive order. And quite frankly, in my well-studied 16-year-long opinion, getting bankruptcy rights back is probably a necessary precondition to get any kind of loan cancellation that's actually meaningful. So yeah, we're fighting for two things, and those are bankruptcy and loan cancellation. Not up to $10,000. That's nonsense. That helps. In fact, that's about the worst thing that could happen. Even up to $50,000 is ridiculous. We've been studying this problem for a long time, folks. And anytime you put weasel words in like up to, it will mean nothing. If the Department of Education has its way, the up to $50,000 will mean like, I don't know, a couple $1,000s per borrower, whatever they want it to mean. And what they want it to mean is nothing. So we can't trust that. So we started petition change.org in March 2020, a little over about a year and 3 months ago, calling for the president to cancel not up to $10,000, not up to $50,000, to cancel all 100% of all federally owned student loans and return bankruptcy to the loans that cannot be canceled. And the president can sort of do that by executive order, by the way. He can, well, they can't change the legislation. We need Congress for that. It's true. The president can order the Department of Education and, by extension, its contractors, like ECMC, to stop opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court. They can do that. Certainly for federal loans. For private loans, it gets a little more difficult. So that's what we're fighting for, guys, those two things. And right now, the big danger, and hey, we love Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer. We're thrilled that they embraced the concept that we started getting publicity for back in March of last year. We're thrilled that leading Democrats have taken up the mantle. But, folks, I'm here to tell you, it is becoming a politicized, partisan issue. And also, I might add, the way Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer framed the loan cancellation issue, this up to 10,000, up to 50,000, I'm sorry, guys, but it's nonsense. It's nonsense. So this lending system is catastrophically failed. In fact, the entire student loan program is failed. It just is. It is a failed national experiment. The data is in, and the data does not lie. This lending system is toast. It's done. It's finished. There's no saving it, and there should be no saving it. So all the loans got to go. But as I said, I think a necessary precondition to at least forcing a floor of good faith into the entire arena, which will make them take a very hard look, a very honest look at this lending program, is the return of bankruptcy protections. So my biggest fear, oh, and by the way, we've got like 1 million signatures on the petition, so we're going somewhere. We're doing well. We should have 30 million, but we've got 1 million, so that's a start. My biggest fear is that we're going to see some nonsense loan cancellation as a cheap substitute for bankruptcy. This happened before, by the way. I don't know where you were in 2007, but I was fighting for student loan justice, believe it or not. And I am here to tell you that, the first thing that the Democrats probably said they were going to do was return bankruptcy protections to student loans. And lo and behold, what we saw them do instead of bankruptcy was, in fact, leading liberal, left-leaning advocates went to great lengths to kill our push for bankruptcy protections and substitute that with a couple of programs you may have heard of. One was the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. The other was the Income-Based Repayment Program. So these leading student loan advocates went to some efforts to try and persuade our group to stop fighting for bankruptcy. They're like, oh, Mr. Collins, yeah, no, you shouldn't be pushing for bankruptcy. You should be joining us in fighting for income-based repayment and public service loan forgiveness. They're so great. Yeah, we don't need bankruptcy with those. These programs are awesome. Well, here we are 13, 14 years later, and those programs are not awesome. Those programs are harming the vast majority of people who try for them. Not only are they not helping, they are harming, because over 99% of the people in all of the income-driven repayment programs, public service is like 98.6 rejection rate. So 98.6% of the people who try for these programs not only don't get the forgiveness, but they get kicked out of the program. They get left owing far more than had they never tried in the first place. So folks, I'm worried. I'm glad that I've been doing this for as long as I have, because at least I have the institutional memory of what the establishment in Washington, D.C., both Democrats and Republicans, we're a nonpartisan group, by the way. We are nonpartisan. We follow the truth wherever it may lead. And what I just told you is true. And what I am seeing right now, all of my alarms are going off again. Here we are, 6 months into the new congressional term. We do not yet see bankruptcy legislation in either the House or the Senate. I'm very concerned. And you should be too. They're going to try, and I would bet, I am increasingly confident and worried that they are going to try and foist another nonsensical loan cancellation bunch of BS on us as a cheap substitute for the bankruptcy protections that the Founding Fathers called for in the Constitution. That's what I see happening, guys. You should be very concerned. This isn't just my problem. This is your problem. And if you're watching me, you already know that. By the way, if you have any questions or comments, throw them out. I will certainly respond to them if I can see them. Let me see if I can dial it in here. So yeah, guys, that's where we're at. Right now, and of course, everybody's pissed about Joe Biden. The guy we knew he was going to be bad. You know, going back to the 1970s as a senator, where he was a surprisingly key guy in getting bankruptcy protections removed from student loans way back in the day. Biden has never had clean hands on this, and we knew he was going to be difficult. We knew that the campaign promises he was making were not believable. And lo and behold, here we are now, everybody, many tens of millions, who voted for Joe Biden in the expectation that he would eliminate student loan debt for people who earned less than $125,000, went to public college or an HBCU. There are a lot of very pissed off people in the country right now who voted for him and are now seeing him backtrack and throw shade on what he said and, quite frankly, prove his campaign promises to be, I don't know any other word but lie. I mean, the words that came out of his mouth were, if you went to public college, HBCU, if you earn less than $125,000 a year, I will eliminate your student debt. That is what he said. He also said he was endorsing Elizabeth Warren's bankruptcy plan, which included a pledge on day one to order the Department of Education to not oppose bankruptcy filers on student loans in court. So Biden is screwing it right now, big time. And I have urged him, we as a group, in the millions of people on our petition, we have sent letters to the White House, and we will continue to do that. And if you have not been doing that, you'd better start helping, because this is getting down to crunch time here right now. We have an opportunity with Biden, but we've got to push him. If he doesn't feel us pushing, he is not going to do anything. The good news about Biden is that he is a politician. In fact, Joe Biden is a politician's politician, right? He's been in the Senate since age like 29 or something like that. So he can be pushed. He will go which way the political winds blow. And we are the wind. You know, we are the storm. But if he doesn't hear from you, if you don't push, he's not going to feel your push. So while it's great that we have 1 million people on our petition, if only 500 people of those 1 million people are actually doing anything, Biden's not going to feel it. So it's kind of like, what's the point? So if you've been sitting and waiting and watching and worrying and hoping that somebody else is going to be pulling your weight for you, no. It doesn't work that way. Never has. You've got to step up, own this problem, get off your ass, and do the not even hard work, but the effort. You got to put forth a little tiny bit of effort. You've got to show up at least and do the small things that need to be done. I'm doing it. Hundreds of people in our group are doing it every day. Where are you? What are you doing? And if you are doing stuff, then I salute you. And you know that these comments are not directed at you. If you are doing the stuff, the small things that need to be done, calling reporters, calling governors' offices, getting the 2 very important pieces of research that we've published recently out to the media, particularly in the 18 states that I will that I mentioned in the report that I will post in the comments below this live stream, then I salute you. My hats are off, and hopefully you will agree that it's pretty cathartic. It feels good to be getting stuff done. You know, in the past month, in fact, just yesterday, I'm very happy to announce report. We were quoted at Business Insider in a pretty good piece about loan cancellation, Joe Biden. Over the past month and a half or so, we've been featured on all over the place. CNBC, Yahoo News, Business Insider like 3 times, all kinds of places. Both national and also many pieces of state media. The most important state media that we need to get right now, though, is in states like Georgia, number 1, Florida, number 2, Missouri, number 3. I'm going to say Texas, number 4, just because it's so big. Indiana, South Dakota, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Those are the states that we really, 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 really need to get that report to. And if you haven't tried, then you better try. A lot is riding on this, because listen to me very carefully. If we can get even one of the governors of those states, they're all Republican governors, if we can get even, except for North Carolina, if we can get even one of those governors, Republican governors, to stand up and say, Mr. President, enough. My state owes more than our entire state budget in student loan debt. And most of that is federal debt. Most of that is money fleeing my state and going into the bureaucracy of Washington, D.C. Mr. President, enough. You have the power to cancel these loans. Cancel these loans and end this lending system. This lending system has no place in America. It does not. We are the most wealthy, powerful country in the world. There's no reason that we cannot educate our citizens without enslaving them in lifelong debt. The lending system is a catastrophic failure by all rational metrics and measures. It is a big government college feeding monstrosity as well, I might add, which no true conservative could get behind. If we can get even one governor to tell the president to cancel the loans, Republican, I think that will be it. I think that will be the domino that causes the cascade that ends this lending system and frees us all. Think about that. I don't exaggerate. I don't dramatize things. I'm giving you my honest assessment. So there's a lot riding on this. You, sitting there, could be the one person that makes that impassioned appeal, that writes that smart email, that makes that perfect phone call, that finally gets one of these governors off of their ass and fighting for the people rather than the federal government that is enslaving these states that I just mentioned. So take it seriously. Lots riding on it. Put a little effort into it. Don't phone it in. This is not something where you're checking boxes. This is something you need to make happen, whatever it takes. We've got a lot of people on this group who are trying. I'm not going to mention all their names, there's too many, but there's a lot. But there's not nearly enough. So, see if we have any comments here. So, with that, guys, I think I'm going to just kind of leave it there at that. I'm going to put the two very important reports. One that shows over a third of U.S. states owe more than their entire state budget in student loan debt. Mostly southern red states. Mostly red states, and southern. The other report shows that there are more people over the age of 35 than under the age of 35 with student loans. There are more people over the age of 50 than under the age of 25 with student loans. And the older group owes far, far more. That changes the entire perspective that a lot of people have about student loans. This is not a younger person's problem. This is not a problem of the liberal elite. This is not a problem of the entitled, wealthy, whatever stuff that you see in knee-jerk conservative media that try to throw shade on canceling student loans. This will change everybody's perspective when they actually know this. So this information that I'm giving to you, these two reports right down there that I will post in a minute, very important. Nobody in the country knows this stuff right now, hardly. It is up to us as ambassadors to get this information out there. It's not hard, but it requires some effort. So we need you on this. You need us. We all need to get off we all's asses, own this problem, and make something happen. Do you want to be here 5 years from now saying, wow, yeah, I really had a chance 5 years ago to get off my ass and do something. I didn't. Now, my life is trashed with this fucking ridiculous debt. I could have done something. I didn't. Do you want to be that person? No. Think ahead. Be smart. And help us. So with that, I don't see any comments. I could be wrong. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night, but I'm going to wish everybody a good luck. Get this done. Godspeed. Get done quickly. Sooner than later, please. I will be back maybe on Wednesday. It will be back tomorrow. Keep checking in, guys. Things are happening very fast. The sausage is being made as we speak. What we do, what you do right now matters. Remember that. You're very important. God bless everybody.